So this is Have a Nice Death. I really wanted to play it. It seems so cute and fun. Death has never been so adorable, and I love him. I love his nonplussed face. I love his little coffee. I love his comfy-looking robe. I love everything about this game's aesthetic. The game does a wonderful job of seemingly making fun of terrible workplace conditions. So if you have a problem with that, reach out to someone. You can type it in on the internet, or I can help you. There are professionals everywhere. I am not a professional, so I would go see someone who's like legit and professional about actually helping people. I'm just an idiot on the internet, but I do care about you. I'm an idiot who cares, which is something. Welcome back, Mr. CEO, and have a nice death. Hee. If only we could all have a nice death. Far too many of us looking the other way. I don't know if anyone's seen Hellraiser, the movie, the first one. But there's the guy who gets torn apart by the Cenobites, and then he splooges on the ground, and then he starts eating people, and he grows his little musculature back like this. This is more disturbing because he's like moving around and doing calisthenics, and he's got the twitchy eye. So I didn't know that they could beat that. They were like, oh, I've never seen student engagement like that. Students are always engaged and interested in talking and asking really good questions in my class. I'm like, freaking exactly. Exactly. So maybe don't care so much about this little thing, or maybe change the school system to care less about this little thing and actually appreciate that I got a fucking high schooler to care about cells for a minute. Like, can you imagine that? Oh my gosh. Someone cared about cells. Someone cared about mitosis for a moment because I found a way to make it interesting. So maybe don't make it all about testing and make it actually about, like, general progress or something. That'd be really upsetting if the afterlife is just paperwork and meetings and bullshit like that. That fucking sucks. I really hope... I would rather there be nothing. I would rather there be absolutely nothing to do. Or just like, why can't people just accept that when we're dead, we're dead? That seems better to me. But there are legit people in biology classes as well, naturally, that aren't there to teach. They're there to learn how to be, doctors and zoologists and ecologists and everything. In my class, I think it was for genetics, a very hard class, notoriously difficult no matter which professor you took it with. It was just a bad time. First day, we had a class of about 20, and I was sitting there with one of my buddies, and the professor asks us, all right, everybody, just tell me what you want to do with your degree, like where you... what are you shooting for, career-wise? Had a lot of people that, wanted to do doctors, or do medical research, or general biology stuff, conservation, ecology, whatever, whole bunch of options. A seat in front of me, there was a guy who legit said, like, I'm going to be a neurosurgeon. I'm going to do surgery on the brain. And everyone's like, oh my gosh, like, we're in the presence of actual ambition. This is wild to me. And, a couple people go by, and then it's my turn. And I had to say, oh, I'm going to be a high school biology teacher. And the entire class, looked back at me like I was a fucking idiot, or like I was like a crazy person. And I'm like, the guy who said he wants to operate on brains, just talk to us, and you're gonna think I'm the crazy person? I would love to like keep my son safe and my daughter safe and not have them go to public schooling because I don't want them to get shot and murdered, and I don't want to have to identify my son's dead body with AK-47 chunks taken out of him. But at the same time, I'm not equipped to teach elementary schoolers. I don't have the energy, I don't have the patience, I don't have the resources. So it just seems like a bad idea. Even though I want to keep my son safe. But at the end of the day, the option shouldn't be like, teach your kids or maybe they get shot. Maybe that's not the system that we should work in. Let's do industrial pollution. That's relevant. Climate change on the rise. Recycling's important, but it'll never, your individual actions will never do enough to freaking curb what industries are doing. And they've got lobbying groups on their side. So, you know, don't get too upset if you miss recycling one day, because God knows some corporation, some dick CEO is taking multiple plane rides because he doesn't want to deal with traffic. And that's going to put out more CO2 than you do in your whole year. Okay, that's just the recount of my failure. Don't need that. If I wanted a recount of all my failures, I'd talk to my fucking father. I take spiritual damage going back into a school to teach. And every time a meeting goes in, that's critical spiritual damage. And schools don't give you a lot of chances to rest up and recover those precious hit points. So it really adds up. Eventually it becomes a damage over time, and it just gets you. Yeah, psychic damage. Absolutely. I've got no resistance to psychic damage. The thing about psychic damage, the bad thing is, you know, a lot of us we're born with passives. That means you take more damage from spiritual damage and from emotional psychic damage. So we're just really screwed. You know, passive, anxious, take 50% more psychic damage for anything. And it lasts forever. There's no getting rid of that passive. Unless you can afford to go into the therapy unit to have that passive removed or downgraded, which is really hard. Do you know how expensive it is to go to the therapy menu and click on the anxious thing? Not only is it a money thing, but it's also a time thing. And how are you supposed to have time and money to go do that when you have to have a job so you can eat and have a place to live? Because if you don't do that, you don't get money. And then not having the food and the medicine and the place to live gives you psychic damage and physical damage. The Dagust. Deal 500 damage in a single blow. I've experienced 500 like emotional healing in a single blow. If you know what I mean. Wink wink. I'm gonna nudge the camera. Wink wink. Nudge nudge. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm fucking saying? You guys know. You guys know. This is stupid. I can't believe I'm doing this. I can't believe I made that joke. I don't deserve anything. No one should be my friend.